Welcome to Module 1, everyone. So glad you're here. So we have a lot of great things to be getting into in this module. We're going to be talking about providing student feedback in the classroom, culturally responsive teaching, talking about differentiated instruction, personalized and blended learning, and also project-based learning. And what's really important about this first module, again, this is a course that's going to be preparing you to become an administrator, but as an administrator, you need to be an instructional leader. So these are all things that you need to be able to be looking for as you are in classrooms doing either formal observations or walkthroughs or instructional rounds, learning walks, whatever you'd like to call them. So these are going to be really important things to really have command of as you are leading as an instructional leader in your building. All right, so we're going to start with some reading here. We've got some textbook reading here talking about the importance of quality teacher supervision and how it creates really this exceptional school environment for everyone. Looking at some history, some adult learning, and also some effective teacher practices that you'll see some of the things above. A couple of articles that I have for you, some kind of buzz topics in education right now. One of those is differentiation, and I really pulled two sides of the coin here for you. I have differentiation doesn't work, and differentiation does in fact work. Two kind of different articles that explore the same topic from different perspectives. All right. As far as what you're going to be watching, we have some video here on differentiated instruction, personalized and blended learning, which I think most of you, if you've been kind of following the trends in education right now, especially middle school and high school, but also some elementary as well. This kind of idea of a blended learning environment. And I know in our own school district, this is something that we have been exploring for a few years now. There's some neighboring districts that have really gone full on in this world of personalized and blended learning. So this would be a good thing to definitely explore and a really cool topic nonetheless. Project-based learning, PBL. It's been around kind of a long time and really exploring this idea of how project-based learning isn't just doing a project. It's very much different than doing a project, although you still are creating a product. And I think that's going to be really great. And then this area of culturally responsive teaching is a huge area that has really come into vogue in education over the last probably decade or so, and rightfully so. And I think it's a wonderful thing to explore as we think about the students that we have in our classrooms. Who are our students? Who are they? Well, what backgrounds do they have? Where do they come from? And as we're teaching, what kind of messages are we sending to students so that they can really identify with what we're trying to say? You know, kind of reading the room. Who do you have in your room? Right. And I think it's important that you try to connect with your students in their backgrounds that they have, because we all have different backgrounds, but it's great when you get to know your students and then kind of tailor your instruction towards the students that you have in the class to really celebrate their cultural backgrounds as well. All right, the discussion question here is going to really have you diving into this concept of blended, personalized, and project-based learning. And so talking about how are you going to really encourage these things to really happen with staff members. And I will tell you, this is a pretty big undertaking, to get people trained in each of these things and to also see it really happen. I will tell you, having done a bit of all three, these are things that definitely take time to really understand and also to do right. Because I will tell you that having a project based learning environment is one of the most wonderful things to experience when it goes right. Because when it doesn't, it can be very challenging. This kind of blended, personalized model here that you're seeing kind of a lot of schools go towards can be very powerful to build kind of student agency and to really get kids excited about being in the classroom and using technology, but also kind of incorporating other conventional methods as well. So that's going to be a neat discussion question. I'm excited to hear you all kind of respond to one another and see how that's going to take shape. All right, as far as your reflection for this first module here, going to be looking at those two opposing articles that I mentioned before and describing how you plan to approach or implement differentiated instruction as an administrator. I know this is one of those things that I think people talk about all the time. Oh, I'm differentiating, or how do I differentiate? And I think a lot of times people make it out to be a lot more challenging than it has to be. Because really, with anything, you think big, but you start small. And I think a lot of times we forget that as educators. There's so many things that we're trying to do, whether you be a principal or whether you be a teacher. But really, if you think big, you got a big idea about something, but you just take baby steps, you start small. I think that's definitely a way to go, especially in this area of differentiation. All right, the big assignment for this module one is a principal interview, and I think this is going to be great. I think a lot of times teachers don't have an opportunity to sit down and talk with their administrators unless it's about teacher evaluations or if it's just kind of a quick hallway conversation. But this is really going to get you thinking about what it means to be a principal and what your principal goes through every single day. I know myself, just in working alongside all of the principals and central office staff at my school, I did not have an understanding of what those people do every single day until I sat there and kind of lived it with them and was in the office with them, seeing them kind of dole out discipline or working alongside them when they're trying to develop a professional development day for an entire district. I mean, think about a person that has to develop that for 250 teachers, right? It's a huge undertaking and something that I don't think we always understand until we really talk to people and really get at the core of what it is that they do. So you're going to interview a school principal, and again, on the assignment, you'll see a lot more information than this. This is just a snapshot, but I'd like it to be somebody who is an OTES evaluator. I know I mentioned central office staff before in my description there, but I'd really like it to be somebody who is doing OTES on a regular basis because I think that's really the core of one of the core pieces of this class is that supervision piece. So, what I'd like you to do is just to consider how this instructional supervision is actually practiced. And there's a number of questions that I kind of gave as examples for you to ask them, but I'd really like you to focus on what that's like and how they go through the process. Now, I am aware that OTES is changing. It's in a pilot state right now. It hasn't been formally adopted. My own district is actually part of the pilot, which is pretty cool, but we are still under the current system. And I didn't want you kind of using the new system yet or talking about the new system yet because it might change, and it still could because it has not been formally adopted. Just a note, if any of you do work in a state other than Ohio, you are welcome to use your own state, or if you would like to use Charlotte Danielson's framework, it's a framework that a lot of states have used to kind of base their work upon. Okay, so a lot of great things here. And again, these are just all snapshots of kind of what you're going to do, but I just wanted to give you a flyover of kind of what we're going to be doing here in Module 1. And I'll be doing this for each of the modules to kind of get you focused and started for each of those modules. So I hope you enjoy this one. I'm really excited to interact and see what's going on in the discussion boards and also read your principal interviews and your reflections as well. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out anytime. Email is probably the best way to get a hold of me because I can check it a lot quicker than a phone call. But I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. And I hope you have a great week. And please let me know if you need anything. All right. Enjoy Module 1.